This is Land of Havilah, Psalm 137. It's 9 verses. It begins, "By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down. Yes, we wept when we remembered Zion." Your narrator's baby boomer generation had a chance to meditate on this psalm because some of it was adopted into a reggae song in the 1970s, then covered in the 1980s in a version that went platinum. It was popular in the U.S., and in the U.K. it was named as one of the top 10 songs in pop history. By the waters of Babylon, there we sat down. Yes, we wept when we remembered Zion. Our captors demanded of us a joyful song, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." But how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? We get the picture of Jewish captives sitting by one of the numerous canals or rivers in lower Mesopotamia. After virtually the entire nation was carried off and displaced, they remembered Zion. Zion in this usage is the Holy Land in general. They remembered home and wept. We can probably assume this psalm dates to sometime after Jerusalem first fell to the Babylonians, which would place it sometime after 597 BC. But who knows? Bible prophecy is so amazingly accurate it could have been written before the captivity. After all, Isaiah prophesied the Babylonian captivity about 114 years before it happened, when the Babylonian kingdom was small, distant, friendly to Israel, and not a threat, 2 Kings 20, 16 to 18. So this psalm could have been a prophecy, or it could have been written after the fact. So let's read it now, this lamentation of captivity, which was all the more regrettable because the Jews brought it on themselves by forsaking Yahweh. Leviticus 26, 27 to 39. Verse 1. "By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yes, we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows in that land we hung our harps. For there those who led us captive asked us for songs. Those who tormented us demanded songs of joy. Sing us one of the songs of Zion." How can we sing Yahweh's song in a foreign land? "If I forget you, Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth if I don't remember you, if I don't prefer Jerusalem above my chief joy." Comment, those were the first 6 verses. There are 3 more which get into new territory, but the basic idea of the first 6 is that the captivity was terribly sad to them. The psalm makes much more of an impact on us if we've read Genesis through 2 Kings and followed the Jews through their history, how the glory of having God as their God was within their grasp, and how that glory took full bloom in the days of David and Solomon, but afterward they threw it all away by forsaking him. He pled with them through the prophets for centuries to come back to him, but they wouldn't, and all the warnings he gave them back to Moses came to pass word for word, every horrendous aspect of those warnings. Coming up in the last 3 verses of the psalm, it's important to know that the Edomites, who were just southeast of Israel, allied themselves with the Babylonians during the siege of Jerusalem, Obadiah 1, 10 to 14. They encouraged the Babylonians to destroy Jerusalem, then gloated over how it came to pass and participated in the looting afterward. The day of Jerusalem coming up is a reference to the day the Babylonians broke through. Daughter of Babylon coming up is another term for Edom, that they behaved like they were related to the Babylonians. Daughter of Babylon could also refer to any nation or person allied against the Jews, or who rejoiced in their destruction and mocked Yahweh. Verse 7. "Remember, Yahweh, against the children of Edom, the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to its foundation. Daughter of Babylon, doomed to destruction, he will be happy who rewards you as you've served us. Happy shall he be who takes and dashes your little ones against the rock." Comment, that's the end of the psalm. The gist of verses 7 to 9 we just read are, "Remember, Yahweh, what Edom, Babylon, and all their allies have done to us, who said, raise it, tear the whole city down to its foundation. You allies of Babylon, you're doomed to destruction. Happy shall he be who treats you as you've treated us. You dashed our little ones against the stones when you entered Jerusalem. Happy will be the person or nation that dashes your little ones against the stones. In a related prophecy against Edom, Isaiah prophesied about 114 years before the captivity that someone glorious in his clothing, marching in the greatness of his strength, would trample Edom. His clothing would be stained red like he's been trampling grapes in a wine vat. He did the trampling alone with no one else's help. He did the trampling in anger and wrath and vengeance. Their life blood was sprinkled on his clothing, he said, for the day of his vengeance was in his heart, and the year of his redeemed had come. And it goes on to say the trampling wasn't just of Edom, but of the peoples of the whole earth. So that obviously speaks of the Messiah, of his return in power and glory. And once again, we can see how God uses the history of the Bible as a microcosm of things to come. In this case, the thing to come being the famous day of the Lord when he tramples all his enemies and redeems his own. And all this is related to the Babylon of the book of Revelation, how God used ancient Babylon as an example from the past, as a microcosm of things to come, a microcosm of the wickedness of the entire world and of all those who set themselves against God and how they'll be destroyed in the end. On the one hand, it'll be a horror to those being destroyed, but for the righteous who are being oppressed by the wicked of the earth during the Great Tribulation and who were oppressed throughout history, it'll be the long-awaited and welcome judgment of God on the wicked of the past and of the present. So in that last line of the psalm is probably a reference to the coming Messiah in vengeance, that he'll be happy to dash your little ones in pieces against the stones, not meaning children of such as the kingdom of heaven, but meaning all the wicked spiritual offspring of Babylon. He'll have no mercy on the wicked any more than the Babylonians had mercy on the babies and children of Jerusalem, whom they dashed against stones. Psalm 138 is next.